Welcome everyone. In this session, I'll be showing you how to do a disk clone. Uh, Here's the disk map of my existing. I have the 2 terabyte MSI drive and I'm cloning it over to Western Digital 1 terabyte drive. Just wanted to show you guys the configuration. The tool that I'm using is called Disk Genius. So basically I'm transferring from a 2 terabyte MSI NVMe to a 1 terabyte NVMe, and the tool I'm using is Disk Genius. It's free as of February 2024. That's when the video was shot, and I'm posting it a little bit later, so hopefully it's still free. This is what my 1 terabyte NVMe shows up as, because I'm using a USB enclosure case. It shows up as HD2 Realtek RTL9210 NVMe. For you, it might be different. But if you have an option, if you have an extra slot on the motherboard itself, use that approach. Have it directly connected instead of using a USB case, because the transfer speeds will be much better, and you can also set it as a target. So one less step. I will show you guys what I mean by setting it as target. To start the cloning process, go to the tools at the top, click on clone disk. There are different options, but clone disk is the option that you'll need to select to do a full cloning. You can play around with the other options if you want to, depending on your needs. So once you click the clone disk, you'll be asked to select the source. So here I've selected my 2 terabyte MSI drive, and it will ask you, hey, it's going to give you basically information about, hey, what's going to happen. It might wipe your system. Make sure you choose the right source and right destination. Next step was destination. So here's one thing I want to show you guys. As you can see, it actually automatically only put my C drive, my main partition, the primary partition, and I can resize it. And the other partitions, the E drive and the F drive, if you have multiple partitions like I do here, they did not get populated. So to add them, you'll have to actually, to add, you click on Manage Partition button, like I did, and you just pick and choose which partition you want to kind of add. So I'm going to add here E drive, and it will automatically resize it. If you have enough size, it will put it to 500 gigs as you saw. But if I add the third partition, here's what happens. It automatically adjusts the size depending on whether it can actually accommodate that. But if the partitions are full, this will not work. So you need to make sure that your partition you're copying it over from has enough free space, or it's not really completely full. Because if it's full, you won't be able to do this part. It will complain that, oh, I don't have enough space or something. So make sure when you're doing the cloning, if your 2 terabytes is completely full, you will have to compromise somewhere as to what partition you can't bring over. So here I had enough room. I didn't have anything on the partitions. They're basically empty, and I was able to do this method. So just a heads up on that. Just one more pointer here. For me, I am using a USB enclosure case for my drive. So you see the option for set target to boot via USB. Do not check this. So leave it unchecked. If you're doing it the same way that I am, you have a USB case for your external drive or your new drive, make sure you do not set target this to boot via USB. Then you'll have a bunch of other issues with that. But if you have the drive mapped, or when I say mapped, attached to the motherboard, if it's an NVMe or a SATA cable, it's properly mounted as it would be, you can select the boot option from that drive itself. But if you're using a USB case, do not check this button. It will create tons of issues, so just heads up. Once you're happy with the selection of your partitions, you can go ahead and click the start button. It will ask you to do hot migration or do a PE boot. Basically, I chose the hot migration option instead of booting into a PE environment. You can choose either option, but I chose the hot migration. And I'll let it run. During the cloning process, I noticed that my drive got really hot, so it might happen to you guys as well. Just don't panic, let it finish. It's not going to burn your drive up. You're not going to see smoke coming out of it, so they're made to withstand that usage. As you can see here, it hit 63 degrees for me. So now that it's done, so the migration finished, the drives actually pop up automatically, as you saw in their fast frame there I had there. So you can see all the partitions, they came over. So now there are too many drives. You can see too many partitions. So I'm going to just use the computer management tool to show you guys the disk mapping. So my 931 gigabytes, that's my Western Digital Green. That was what it was cloned over to. So my 2 terabyte got cloned over to the 1 terabyte with the partitions, for example, H drive, N drive, and they're all copied over. So my 2 terabyte basically cloned over to the 1 terabyte, as you can see by the disk mapping. I had another drive in there, that's why you're seeing a bunch of stuff here that are duplicates. But so disk number 1 cloned over to disk, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, disk number 2 here, yes. So 894 would be my Western Digital. So G drive, I, and J drive. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So as you can see here, that on this screen you can see my HD2 Realtek USB case was actually the G drive, I drive, and the J drive. So it cloned over, and all I'm going to do now is shut down the computer, unplug the USB case, take the drive out of it, map it, or put it in my motherboard, remove the MSI drive, the 2 terabyte drive. I'm going to boot off this, or try to boot off this Western Digital Green. So let's do that. So if you note the time, it's 2:40 right now. It should take about 5 minutes for me to transfer over or remove the USB case, put in the drive, boot off it. So we are back. It's 2:48, so it took about 5, 6, or 8 minutes for me to unplug my USB drive, take it out of the case, and put it right on the motherboard, and unplug my 2 terabyte MSI drive. I just want to show you guys that no trickery was done. I have successfully copied over the 2 terabyte over to the 1 terabyte. So I'm booting off this NVMe that was in the USB enclosure case, and the D drives, the D partition and the E partition, they're successfully copied over. The files that were in the partition, as you can see here, they also have copied over just successfully fine. There was no data loss. There was nothing that I had to do, like, set the boot sector or something else, change settings. It just booted off it. It was just fine. So that is it. I was able to clone my 2 terabyte drive to my 1 terabyte drive. However, note that if your disk is full, like 2 terabyte is completely full, it might not work. So you'll need another 2 terabyte drive to clone over to. But for me, since the partitions, my drive was only the operating system on it, nothing else on it, I was able to successfully clone. But if you are in a situation where your 2 terabyte source drive is completely full, you will lose data. You'll have to kind of clean up your 2 terabyte over to another drive somewhere and then do the transfer over. So just a heads up on that. But from a similar drive to, so for example, 2 terabyte drive cloning over 2 terabyte drive, it will be simple. It will work right off the bat without any kind of messing around. Same thing for smaller drives. So for example, you have a 1 terabyte drive, you want to clone it over 2 terabyte drive, it will just work fine. But from a larger drive to smaller drive, just a heads up, you have to have just make sure that it's not full. Your 2 terabyte is not full. You can't clone 2 terabyte to 1 terabyte because there won't be enough space. So you'll have to kind of make sure that the disk usage on your 2 terabyte is under 1 terabyte basically. So you have at least 1 terabyte or 1.2 terabyte of free space on your 2 terabyte drive that you're cloning over from. So I hope this helps you guys. I'm looking forward to your feedback and comments, and if you have ideas in terms of what sessions I should be doing next, please feel free to post in the comments below. Please do hit the like button. Please do subscribe. It is much appreciated. Thanks guys. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Take care.